What's up, everybody? And welcome here to another live stream right here on the Slam Sessions. I'm your host, Albert Albanese. And today we're going to talk some wrestling, as usual. My phone's ringing, and it's nobody I know, so it's not important. So a few updates. Oh, AJ Envoy! What's up, man? First in. How are you, buddy? It's good to see you. So first up, just want to, kind of share some personal crap, get that out of the way, and then we'll talk wrestling for the rest of the time. You'll probably be talking to my back a little bit because I'm in the process of actually cooking, and I really should probably get some better equipment to do this with so that you can actually see what I'm doing, and maybe, I can actually, attach a camera up here so that I can actually, do some stuff. But we'll get there eventually, one of these days. I promise. So a few things. Last stream, I spoke about Base Up. What's going on, man? So AJ, I was just actually about to get there. So last stream, I know that I wasn't doing too well. You kind of heard it in my voice that it was actually kind of a little bit messed up. Well, unfortunately, I thought I was getting over everything, and it turns out that I wasn't. And I had some sort of an infection in the back of my throat and in my tonsil, and I had, let's put it this way. Yesterday morning wasn't fun. Mohammed, what's up, buddy? How are you? So yesterday just wasn't a fun experience. But the good thing is that since then, by the afternoon, late evening, and then this morning, I'm feeling 10 times better. I got some antibiotics in my system. Everything seems to be all the more better. But what you'll notice is that during this whole ordeal, I'll be cooking and doing everything that I'm doing with a glove on my hand. And no, this is not a tribute to the Dr. Britt Baker. This is because if you notice, you really can't see it here. There's a giant lump here. That right there is all gauze because the genius that I am, I cut my finger really bad on a glass last Friday, and had to go to the hospital and get 3 stitches in my finger. So fun times. I'm doing good, thank God. Everything's okay, but it's been a rough couple of weeks for me. It's been a rough couple of months, actually. So yeah. Degenerate, what's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. But the good thing is that I'm here, and I'm able to do all this. So yeah, dude, it's crazy. So I was rushing. I feel bad because I couldn't make it, but my best friend's girlfriend's birthday party was last Friday, and my girlfriend and I were busy. We had to film a. Why can't I think of the word that I'm thinking over here? Oh, it's hot over here, Mohammed, too. I feel bad. I hope your cat's doing better. But an audition. She had an audition we had to film. I don't know why I couldn't find the word. But so we finished that, and while she was uploading it, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do my best now to kind of clean up around here while she's doing things and be productive instead of just sitting there and watching TV. And, this is what I get for being productive. I went to go turn my hand into the glass to clean it. I didn't realize there was a chip at the top. And, yeah, not cool. So, went up in the ER for 2 hours, 3 stitches later. Here's my Britt Baker tribute for today. So, oh, yeah, I totally get you, Mohammed. I've had... In my times, I've had mostly dogs throughout my entire life, and in all the times where I've had them, it's been the same thing. They're big and fluffy and flurry. That's that's what's gonna. I said flurry. Big and fluffy and furry. That's what I was looking for. They require a lot more attention. Let me move this over here so I can kind of peek out. Oh, that works pretty better. All right, so I'm gonna move this around. All right, I'm in business here. All right, so now I can see everybody and kind of do what I'm doing. So I know the last time that I did this, if you guys were ever were here for the stream that I had done where I was cooking, I kind of like went over everything. And this time I'm kind of just, I don't know if it's just that I'm not in the mood or it just it is what it is, but I'm kind of just going to talk to you guys while I do this. So, Richard Lee, what's going on, man? Were you talking about Muhammad's cat or my thumb or my finger? Wasn't that bad. So, ironically, if you were here the last time I did this stream, I was making chicken cutlets, and I'm doing the same thing now. This wasn't a plan. This wasn't planned out. It just happened to be, what I got. Being that, unfortunately, everything that went on with my hand, I really couldn't get to like the store to go cook. So, wow, there's a lot of headroom there. Let's rectify that. Not showcase my big fat gut right now. I say as I zoom in on it. Based up, I actually enjoy cooking. It's actually one of those things that I don't mind doing. My girlfriend has been here for the past couple of days with me, and I predominantly am the one who does the cooking. It's not that she can't cook; she very much can, and she's actually very good. But I actually enjoy it. To me, it's fun. But I actually used Amazon Fresh for the first time, and got my groceries delivered. And let me tell you something. If you guys are in a pinch and you can't get to the grocery store and you need groceries, it's a great option. I completely agree, AJ. For me, it is one of those things where it's borderline therapy. It's like therapy for me because I can just sit here and I'm unbothered and I can kind of just do what I need to do. And, after all is said and done, you get a good reward of a good meal. And I highlighted my fat gut there a little bit before. I'm trying to get a little bit healthier now that I've been sick of these past couple of days. Actually, I had COVID and then the kidney stone and then, the stitches and then, then I was sick last week and now this. So it's been a lot. So I'm trying to do a lot better for my body, for myself, not for anybody else. But yeah, so that's that. So let's dig in, guys. Let's get into some wrestling stuff. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was the idea of there was an interview that Tony Khan did. It's all good, Muhammad. I appreciate it. But there was an interview that Tony Khan did recently, and this was like a couple of days ago, if I'm not mistaken, where he was talking about people maybe being unhappy in AEW as of right now. If you guys haven't been, I'm trying my best, Muhammad. I really am. But if you guys haven't been following it, apparently Andrade El Idolo and Miro have been, I gotta be like Dave and start handing out mod things if I'm gonna keep doing this cooking spiel while I'm talking to you guys. But anyway, so Miro and Andrade had both either liked tweets or sent out some stuff stating that it didn't seem like they were happy with their place in the company. And of course, that's going to seemingly come about, right after Triple H has taken power. And Triple H put Andrade in a very good position in NXT. He positioned Miro pretty well, during, it was really like more pre-NXT days with Miro. A lot of FCW and like pre-NXT on the network stuff. So we can get into the whole Punk stuff soon too. I kind of did want to go across that because we talked last week a little bit about Gresham, and Gresham was unhappy, and Punk had put out that tweet after Sasha and Naomi said they were unhappy, and he was like, "Support your guys." Yet we hear about these guys in AEW being unhappy, and Punk doesn't come out and publicly support them. So. I've been talking to Dave Zaslav. He's on my speed dial. He says that he's scrapping HBO Max for an all-hour streaming channel. Richard Lee, I hope not, because HBO Max is my favorite streaming service. So I don't want them to replace everything with me. But I'd be more than welcome to be a part of it. And so, Muhammad, I don't. See, here's the thing. I'm a fan of the wrestler CM Punk. The human being CM Punk, the guy who goes on and does all these interviews and it gets outspoken and sometimes gets caught up in his own words and stuff like that. It doesn't usually really sit well with me. And AJ, you're right about meal prepping, by the way. A lot of the stuff that he does say, it's kind of head scratchy. He does often contradict himself, and that's look, it is what it is. Like, not everybody's going to be completely okay. I mean, look, if Dave kept up his live streams and he and hey, Muhammad, you have the right to feel that way. But if Dave kept his live streams up so that we can see them from when me and him started doing it, I'm sure you'll probably find some stuff where I've said things like, oh, such and such about this person, and then contradicted myself with, maybe even the next stream or a couple of streams later. It happens. The thing is that when you're on Twitter, everything that you say is now under a microscope. And I think that Punk hasn't been careful with the stuff that he's been saying because it's kind of been getting him tangled in it. And sometimes it's kind of just better to, let things go and not comment on them. I know a lot of the stuff that he does comment on, he's asked about in interviews. He's not just coming out and saying it. But a lot of the stuff he does say that comes back and bites him is the stuff that he's not asked about and he's just tweeting. Henny Powers, what's going on, man? But it's not even about politics. I don't even care about it like political stuff. And if you're talking about like actual politics, yeah, no, everybody kind of needs to keep their own political stuff off of Twitter at this point because I'm kind of tired of seeing it anyway. But even like wrestling politics, sometimes it's just not good to talk about that backstage stuff on Twitter. Sometimes it's good to kind of just keep that stuff between you and the wrestlers because wrestling fans are so, and especially the Twitter wrestling fans, which is stuff we're going to get into in a couple of minutes about like a couple of things with AEW. But yeah, and same here, Muhammad. A lot of people can't, and that it is what it is. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be talking a lot of crap about these certain people, and talking and saying stuff about the backstage stuff, wrestling fans are crazy. Wrestling fans are going to go and they're going to dig and they're going to go back and look up your tweets from 5, 6, 7 months or years ago. And they're going to try to have their gotcha moment on them. Bill Chris, what's up? Super big Mark, super big Jets fan. That's me. But yeah, so look, it is what it is at the end of the day. I think that, when it comes to somebody like Punk, I prefer to just hear them wrestle. I'm sorry, watch them wrestle rather than, talk about all this backstage stuff. But I'm also not CM Punk. He's also free to talk about whatever the hell he wants to. So it is what it is. That's just me personally. But a couple of things that, in the wrestling world that have been kind of gotten me in a little bit of a, it's kind of got me a little bit fired up. So there's been a large amount of backlash towards AEW. We started talking about the whole idea where people are unhappy and stuff like that. That's where we started this conversation. I hope so, Richard Lee. I hope so. He deserves it. Multiple-time heavyweight champion. And Luger, he made his mistakes, but he's come around and becoming actually a decent human being. So, good on him. You're losing audio. All right, that doesn't sound good because I don't know how that could possibly be because I'm using the audio through the maybe it's my connection. If you guys have any problems with the audio, just let me know. So Degenerate, I don't know about I don't know if he needs to retire. I'm just not a big fan of his run in AEW. And this is nothing towards him personally. I just think that we've gotten to a point now where everybody expected to see Punk come in and highlight a lot of these younger guys, and to a point he has. But I don't believe he is in the Hall of Fame base up. But he beat them all. I think the only guy he's really put over was MJF, and then eventually he won that feud anyway. So my whole thing has been, if Punk was going to come in here and to try to elevate people, if that was going to be his job, I kind of don't think he's done a good job at that. I'm tired of everybody sitting there and being like this armchair booker. Okay, we're good. And saying stupid things like, oh, no. Base up. Punk didn't bury Darby. AEW booking buried Darby. Because Darby was the most over character on their show for a very long period of time. And AEW just decided to put him with Daddy Sting and do nothing with him. That's not Punk. That was all AEW. But yeah, so my thing is that if you're going to come in and you're going to try to, I'm tired of hearing people say, "Oh, this guy had a great match with a top talent that put him, he's over now." No, that's not what it takes. You having a good match is one thing, and I appreciate you having a good match, but that doesn't mean that you're a made man because you had a great match with CM Punk. How many of the guys that Punk beat have actually come out and had a strong showing afterwards? I don't even remember half the guys that Punk beat. It didn't seem like he gave them a rub, but that's also AEW's haphazard booking. And for me, that's been my biggest problem with AEW. It's been, their booking has been terrible. It's been on again and off again. And the biggest issue I had is that a lot of people are saying that they're unhappy in AEW, and I get where they're coming from because, let's face it, let's look at the past couple of months in AEW. New Japan Cross Promotion. Buying out Ring of Honor. Featuring Ring of Honor and New Japan talents. Featuring unsigned talents on their television show. This isn't a case of Tony Khan coming out and saying, because this is exactly what he said. He said, it's difficult to get all of those guys on my roster on the show all the time. AJ, he has not, and please enlighten me. Yes, Hobbs is one of them. And based up, I'm with you because Ricky Starks is my bad wrestler on the planet. I didn't see it initially in Ricky Starks. I remember watching one of his first promos in AEW after everybody had told me this guy cuts great promos, and I was not impressed at all. I was wrong. Ricky Starks is a motherfucking star. And I'm man enough to admit it. I was wrong about him, But, the thing is what AEW has been doing is they've been featuring all these guys from other companies on their show. And a lot of people complained about it. Mance Warner. Now, look, this isn't a shot at Mance Warner. I'm sure he's a super talented guy. I didn't watch the match on Rampage. But you're telling me that it was smart for AEW to feature a guy that has never been on their television program in an eliminator, you get a title shot if you beat the champion match that he earned on a show that wasn't on AEW programming. And then they mentioned it, like for 20 seconds on the show, and people are sitting there defending it. They showed a video thing, and he had an interview beforehand. He had 1 minute and 30 seconds on television before he had a match with the world champion. And it's not just Mance Warner. And this is the thing that a lot of people have been, on the internet have been pissing me off about. Everybody's talking about, if Tony Khan didn't sign so many people, he wouldn't have this issue. No, that's not the case. It's not about the guys that Tony Khan has signed. Oh, that whole thing. Well, you know what? AEW fans have been notorious for not being able to take jokes. If they knew what Dave was about, knew Dave's channel, and saw that on his promo, they'd get it. But they don't. That's on them. And that's where these AEW fans, look, you're leading me right into my point. These fans were sitting there and defending this. This is, they gave him plenty of time. Mance Warner's so talented. He's this, he's that. I don't know who he is. I've seen him on Twitter. I've seen his tweets. I've seen people tweet about him. I don't know who he is. Oh, Degenerate, I'm sure he was. I think I caught Ricky Starks on a bet. He may have just cut, a promo that just didn't do it for me that one night, and then immediately I was like, F this guy. I was wrong. He probably had an off night, and that's the night that I caught him for the first time. Or, really kind of recognized who he was for the first time. Or maybe it was just because everybody was hyping him up, and I didn't really view him the right way, and then when everybody was hyping him up, I'm like, all right, let's see what this kid's about. And then I was like, oh, all right. That didn't impress me. But he has since. That impression he did at Danhausen last week, or 2 weeks ago, was great. But yeah, so, my thing is that it's not, I didn't know who Mance Warner was. And Mance Warner is getting a match, that could earn him a title shot. Which, once again, please explain to me why AEW is having matches to determine contenders for their championship when they have a ranking system. What is the ranking system doing if me, some random wrestler who doesn't work for the company, can win a battle royal and get a shot at trying to be world champion in the company? Meanwhile, everybody who's actually working in the company doesn't get a title shot. It's the same thing that FTR has been bitching about for the past couple of months. They're number one contenders, FTR, for the World Tag Team titles, and they never get a title shot. Why are they number one? Then why are they ranked number one? If you're ranked number one, you should be the number one contender. It doesn't make sense to me. That stuff just doesn't make sense. Hey, Google, turn on kitchen.
Okay, turning on kitchen.
Sorry, I realized I was in the dark. Hey, Google, turn on kitchen 2.
Okay, turning kitchen 2.
All right. Now I think the lighting is a little bit better in here. But yeah, I just don't understand that. You're right. The power rankings are a joke. They don't make sense. I don't understand why they continue to keep with it when even their most hardcore fans are finding illogical portions of it. So basically, I agree with that. He's feuded with Jericho for like 6 months. Richard Lee, I don't. Maybe and maybe not. AEW has this fan base that, perpetually they can do no wrong. So I don't think that people are going to start tuning out. I think that, and that's the thing. This is where I'm getting with the whole Mance Warner situation. They're booking for indie wrestling fans, but they're running a professional wrestling company. Stop booking for those fans. You have them. They're there. They're not going to go anywhere. No one's going to sit there and say, oh, AEW hasn't featured an outside talent in 6 months. I'm out. No, people don't care about that. There was never, there were talks about, oh, they could work with New Japan. They can work with other indie companies. And that's all been well and good. But now it's getting to the point where they're sacrificing their own talent to work with these other companies and these other guys. And I don't think that the fans are going to hold it, as much against them as some of these wrestlers are. That actually would be pretty cool, Richard. She should actually do that. She should try to see if she can get a deal worked out there. But that's my thing about their booking right now. Look, I like Takeshita. That's how you say his name. I think that's it. He's had some really solid matches. Based up, it's kind of Kingston's gimmick, and that's fine. I like Eddie Kingston. I have nothing negative to say about Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston is supremely talented on the mic. I think that a lot of people kind of were dumping on his look a while ago. But at the end of the day, he looks like I grew up in New York. I live in New York. He looks like one of those guys I went to high school with in New York. He didn't need to lift weights to beat your ass. He just can beat your ass. But yeah, like I was saying with Takeshita, he had some really impressive matches with some of these guys. And that's awesome. But he's not an AEW talent. So by putting him on AEW television, you're keeping guys and girls who haven't been on AEW television in a long time off of AEW television. Oh, Muhammad, I very much still watch WWE. We'll get into WWE in a little bit, in a little while here, I'm sure. Oh, look, guys, you can have your own opinions. That's fine. Degenerate, I hate those names. I think it's the dumbest thing that anybody's ever come up with. My favorite thing is that on an app where, the idea is, hey, make sure you use the most minimal amount of characters to describe something. They call WWE the Fed. Stupidest thing ever. It hasn't been the Fed or World Wrestling Federation in what, like almost 20 years now? Over 20 years? Like that's the dumb stuff to me. And these stupid made up names: E-Drone, AEW Sexual, WWE Fanboy. Like, shut up. People are allowed to have their favorites and they're allowed to like other things. If you don't like it, that's fine. I don't like it when these people go in and like on an AEW thread and dump all over it. That's stupid. Don't watch it then. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Muhammad, you can say whatever you want here. But that's my thing. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be theoretical, I'm a WWE fanboy because I like the WWE. I'm a fan, so theoretically that makes me a fanboy. It's dumb. It's just dumb, tribalistic internet speak. It makes no sense, and it's creating a division between wrestling fans. And that to me is the biggest thing. They're perpetuating a war when there isn't one. And you have all these and look, I'm sorry, a lot of it that I see, and maybe I'm wrong. King Kaido, what's going on, brother? How are you? A lot of this stuff that I see is a lot of AEW fans doing it. It's a lot more of E-Drones and stuff like that. And it's a lot, and stuff. And it's a lot of them, jumping in to WWE threads and crapping all over WWE. What's the purpose of it? So, that's my whole big thing. But for people to sit there and that's the thing. These AEW fans are now getting mad and offended. They're like, I can't believe you don't understand this whole thing about Mance Warner. He had a 20-second video clip and, he had a promo segment on Rampage. That's not enough. Get me invested. If I want to see a guy wrestle the world champion to get a number one contendership shot, I want to believe he's going to be able to win. If he doesn't work there, and he's gotten a minute and 20 seconds of TV time prior to his match with the heavyweight champion, I'm not invested. I don't care. And the funny thing is that a lot of people, after the whole situation happened on Monday Night Raw, where Dexter Lumis debuted, and people saw him in the crowd, and they were like, oh, how come WWE's not getting dumped on for, not explaining where Dexter Lumis came from? Because it's a part of a story. It was a cliffhanger that's going to be explained later. I just don't understand how either of those situations are remotely comparable. Rhea has been kicking the crap out of Dominic. Muhammad, I don't know. I think that the push on Theory's cooled just that little bit since Vince left. But you gotta remember, he's an NXT guy too. I believe Triple H signed him. I think Triple H sees a lot in Theory also. I think that Triple H also sees that Theory's getting a lot of backlash for maybe, this being a little bit too soon. And that's what people are saying. It's too soon for him to get this push. Stupid. No, it's not. He'll be a main eventer for years to come if he gets this push. And he's talented. But he's a heel. So they're booking him like a heel. I think it's fine. Richard Lee, that's actually fantastic. By the way, funny story. I actually bought this shirt because I have the RVD 420 shirt, and I got that when I was in junior high school. My dad and I went to an ECW show, and I was a big RVD fan. I didn't know what 420 stood for. I thought it was Austin has 316, so RVD has 420. And I wore that shirt for years, having no idea the connotations that go along with it. So I just thought that was funny. So once I saw that they came out with this one, I was like, I kind of just have to get it. And Muhammad, that's a lot of the strategy when it comes to heels. They do get booked to look weak because they shouldn't be able to win, by themselves because they're cheaters. That's why they're heels, because they're not as good as the good guys. They can't just rely on their skills. And that, inevitably, you want to talk WWE, Muhammad, leads me to another situation that we have going on. Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan. I am, Muhammad. So, wrestling Twitter seemed to have been in a meltdown after the Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan finish at SummerSlam. And people were screaming and complaining and crying, I don't understand this. Liv Morgan deserves better. She deserved a clean win over Ronda Rousey. There's no reason that, anybody, that she couldn't get the win. Have you paid attention once to WWE television? And at any point, has WWE ever booked Liv Morgan in a way to show that she is good enough and confident enough to win a one-on-one match? No. Every time she's won, it's always been looked at as almost like a fluke. When she went on that streak and started beating people before she got the shot at Becky, everyone was like, surprised. Like, oh my God, Liv Morgan won. I can't believe it. She beat her. Oh my God, Liv Morgan won again. I can't believe it. She's on a roll. This is crazy. She's always been booked as an underdog. Her title, the way she got the Money in the Bank briefcase, the Money in the Bank is literally the luckiest match out there. Right place, right time. That's where Liv was. And then her cash-in was kicking a hurt Ronda Rousey in her already hurt knee and winning. That doesn't convey confidence. In no way, shape, or form has Liv Morgan ever been presented as someone who can go one-on-one and beat Ronda Rousey. Even in her fucking promos, she even said, I don't know if I can beat you. She even said it in her own promos. Degenerate, real quick, I'll get to that. Base up, I agree. Real quick, I'll address that. That's what I hate about wrestling fans, because they're always, whenever anybody critiques AEW, they're always like, oh, sure, but WWE, can do whatever they want. WWE gets critiqued if somebody's foot slips off the apron in a friggin' in a match. How many? If you guys are on Twitter, how many posts have you seen about Nikita Lyons messing up one move and everybody going, oh my God, they want her to be the future of the division because she botched one move. But anyway, getting back to Liv, like you said, she was built as this underdog. See, Henny, I like the booking at SummerSlam. I think it made Liv look as good as she possibly could. Because at the end of the day, Liv has never been looked at as someone who's going to be. That's debatable, Richard. I have to go back and take a look to see who won them or not. I mean, not really, because Big E won it last year. I mean, his title run wasn't great, but he did win the title, and that was just that just seemed like Big E was more of a victim of circumstance than anything else, to be completely honest. But Liv was never put in a position where we have ever made her, where WWE has ever made her seem like a viable threat. I don't understand why wrestling fans thought that, oh, Liv won a title. Right, and that's the thing. She should have gotten her ass handed to her. Oh, Muhammad, never. He's the biggest loser on the planet. She should have never even, and that's the thing. Ronda snapping at the end of the match, and the booking made so much sense. Technically, Ronda lost, even though she made Liv tap out. And it made Ronda flip out. She turns heel, she beats up Liv, and she becomes the killer that she should be. Because she came back, and she had all smiles, and she's like, I'm going to be competitive. Liv Morgan, you're a great competitor. But if I want to turn it on, I can destroy you at any moment. And I like that. I think the booking was smart. See, Kyle, I don't think they should turn her heel. She's got too big of a fan base. I think that a lot of the you tapped out and the negative stuff that came from SmackDown this week or last week, whenever it was, I guess it was last week, was that that crowd just happened to be a very pro Ronda Rousey crowd. I don't think they were anti Liv Morgan. So I don't think turning her heel is a good idea because she does have a lot of fan support and she's been getting a lot of really big pops on house shows and stuff like that. So she has support. I just think that fans need to temper their expectations. You can't sit there and think that now that she's won the title, on a fluke. She cashed it in. It's not like she won a straight-up one-on-one match. She won the title basically on a fluke. You can't expect her to start dominating the division. She's never been that. Yes, Base-Up, I agree. That's something me and Dave argue about often. But that's the thing. When Liv said she's willing to keep her title by any means necessary, that's a heel promo. So, Henny, yes, it is in a way, and I think that might have been maybe what they were trying to do. I just don't like the idea. I think she's got too big of a fan base to neuter her by turning her heel, especially when she finally won the title. Like the fans can now join in on celebrating with her because she's actually accomplished it. I didn't like that choice of words that were used, in that promo for her. Were they her words? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, she did say shit on TV last week, so I don't know if that's her way of saying she doesn't follow the script or whatever. But look, at the end of the day, she's got a fan base, and you want to cater to that fan base. You don't want to alienate them. So keep her as a babyface. But just don't, but you got to book her in a way that it seems like it makes sense. And you can't make her dominant when she's never been dominant once, at all before. And yes, I agree, Kaito. That's fine. Like, if she can find, they can figure out a way for her to be craftier in the ring, especially, speaking about all the time she's training and all the stuff she's picked up, let her be more crafty. Yeah, I think, now WWE's kind of letting the S word fly a little bit more on TV. I enjoy that. I don't need a fully edgy program. It's the same thing with AEW. I don't need for their guys in AEW to bleed every week. I don't need to see that. The thing that I like about the Attitude Era was their booking. It wasn't based up, you're 100% right. But their booking was always the thing that I liked about the Attitude Era. It was the overall story arcs on a show. And kudos to Raw this past week. Having the car crash, having basically a whodunit on their TV show, figuring out what was going on. No one knew what was happening. I loved it. There was a constant thread throughout the entire thing. Richard Lee, if it happens, it happens, and good for them. They can get away with more. And I appreciate that. If it doesn't, I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't think you need to be able to be a TV 14 program to be successful. WWE proved that in a very, it was a very PG show on Monday. There wasn't anything that was super duper crazy that happened. That they don't need to say shit to get over. That's right. I forgot all about that, Mohammed. But they don't need it. It's not. But if it adds an element to the show and they can get around it and create more stuff, that's great. But I really enjoyed Monday Night Raw this week. I liked that we had a constant thread throughout the entire show. We had something like, Dakota Kai, Bayley, Io Sky come out at the beginning of the show. They have a promo. It leads to this whole big thing. They come out later. They do this whole thing backstage. There was a constant thread throughout the show, and I like that. So for me, keep me, in the game. Keep me there. Keep me, keep me wanting to view it. I liked SmackDown's opening. I like that the SmackDown opened with the Usos and Roman arriving to the show. We know the show's going to be centered around Roman. It always is. But just them getting out of the car, giving each other a high five, walking into the arena. It's like, okay, Roman's here. What's Roman going to say? What's Roman going to do? Who's going to step to Roman? Now we have the thread for the show. And what has Triple H done for the past couple of weeks that I think has been absolutely phenomenal? He's ended multiple shows on cliffhangers. That's not hard to do. Oh, Henny, anybody who craps on Killer Cross coming back is just doing it because they're either a fanboy. Inigo Montoya, what's going on, my man? Anybody who craps on that is just hating just to be hated, just to hate. And to be honest, that's mostly Twitter fans that are doing that. Real, everybody else who watched it, more people who are actually WWE fans, loved it because it was great. And it brought us back to the era where, we saw Cross in NXT, and he was doing great. Picking his NXT guys that aren't really all over with the main roster audience. So Fall, I agree to a point, but I think he's going to build everyone. It doesn't look like he's going to bring back Dexter Lumis as a main eventer. Yeah, Degenerate. Karrion Kross re-debuted on SmackDown last week and attacked Drew McIntyre. And I do kind of get what you're saying, Fall, but by the same point, a lot of the guys that Triple H picked are similar to the guys that Vince picked after, he picked them up in NXT. Rollins, Big E, Cross is one of the, Cross didn't get his chance, but Roman, a lot of the guys, Riddle, a lot of the guys who are main eventers right now in WWE came through the NXT program, or the NXT, Killer Croc. But they were chosen by Triple H. So I think that I get what you're saying, but I think that, they had time to build these guys. And I think, Cross coming in and attacking Drew puts him in a position where he's in more of a main event kind of a deal. Like he's more of a main eventer. But they now have weeks to build Cross back up to the audience who doesn't exactly know or remember who he is, or they only know him from that failed, disastrous Raw run. They can get those guys back engaged by just having Cross come out and dominate people for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I kind of like him with the hair better, Kaido. Matt Cardona said something multiple times about Cross on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast that made me laugh because I agree. He saw Cross at an indie show and Cross was growing his hair out. And he goes, wait a minute, hold on. You've had that hair all this time and you shaved your head? What is wrong with you? I agree. As a bald man, you got the hair, grow it. Don't shave your head. Kind of bullshit. This is the last resort for a lot of us. But he looks good with the hair, actually. He still looks like a killer. So, look, at the end of the day, I think WWE is turning a corner in their booking. So, what this is, based on what this is taking the razor, like a buzzer with no gauge on it, nothing on it, just the straight buzzer and just, that's what this is. But I think WWE is turning a corner. I think Triple H booking it has been better. I like the idea of constant threads through it. I like the idea that Raw is, again, seeming unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. Exactly, Muhammad. But I'm very... For the first time in a long time, I'm not watching wrestling out of habit. Based up, I don't want to look anything like Hulk Hogan. Ever. I'm not a Hogan guy. But yeah, I'm not watching wrestling out of, habit. I'm watching wrestling because I want to, and I'm excited about it. Miz is always going to be fine. I think Miz is one of those guys that's going to adapt no matter what he does or where he is or how or what happens. Miz is always going to find a way to stay relevant because he's so good. And you can't discount the fact that Miz has had great matches with two guys who have zero experience. Having a one-on-one match with Logan Paul is a very, tall task, and the Miz aced it. That's actually kind of true. That's actually where I'm more at, base up. If I grew it out, I'd probably look more like that. But, Miz is always going to find himself a spot. Remember, Elias is also a Triple H guy. I think that he's going back to being Elias and maybe, stopping this whole Ezekiel thing might be a benefit for him. I think that if anybody can turn him around, Triple H can. So yeah, I mean, I think those guys are going to be fine. And yeah, like I like that they're giving the New Day the Viking Raiders or on SmackDown. They're putting them in the position to get them back over. I think New Day is in a transition period where there's not anything going on for them right now, so they're just going to kind of put people over, and that's unfortunate because they're better than that. But it's also the spot you get into sometimes. Sometimes you're the guys that are on top, and sometimes you're the guys who people have to beat to get to the top. And I think that the New Day are kind of there right now. They're not going to be there permanently. They're going to eventually be okay. But, yeah, I agree with the fact that, some of these acts can use some help. But I think with Triple H at the helm, you're going to see that. I think that a lot of things got lost because WWE, like I said, AEW has been booking for this internet fan base, which I think is stupid. But WWE has been booking for their shareholders for how long? And I think, to me, that's been a huge issue because they're not booking for their fans. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that WWE should just specifically listen to just the fans because Lord knows we know how I feel about the fans. I liked heel New Day, but I think it's too far gone now. I think they're too big of baby faces to ever turn back. Oh, fuck, no, I completely agree. They should. They should highlight them and make them seem more important. I agree with that. I think that it's just hard sometimes to make everybody on your show feel important. And that's an issue. That's the thing where, we'll see. I'm sorry, I'm going to step out for a second, but I'm not going anywhere. We'll see, like, a lot of things, like people complaining about, like, certain guys that had, like, a really good build. Like, you see a guy like, let's say an example, Mira. When he was in AEW, he had the Redeemer run, and he was great. And he was doing great. Everything was great about it, but he lost the title. But then after he loses the title, he can't just be kept as a monster who keeps winning. He's got to put other people over. That's going to be his job for a little bit. Yes, they can build him back up to get to where they need to. Or if they're going to elevate him, he's got to keep winning to elevate him to the next level and be a heavyweight champion. But once you're not in those positions, where do you got to have some win some, lose some feuds. You can't just keep everybody hot. Not everybody can win all the time. All right. Thanks for stopping by, Muhammad. I appreciate it. Good to see you. See, here's the thing. Yes. I love Woods, and I think Woods deserves a push. B, this whole Sami Zayn thing, man, someone said this on Twitter, and I completely agree. I would love to see Zayn go to Monday Night Raw and beat Dana Brooke for the 24/7 title and come back and be like, okay, the Big Uso has both titles. The Usos have 2 titles. And the Honorary Uso has a title now, too. And just have, consistently every week try to ask Heyman and Roman if he can hide in their locker room so people won't roll him up so he can keep the title. He works out of ways to try to to defend it, hides and stuff like that. He would be so fun, and it would bring relevance to that championship. No one cares about it, but Sammy would make somebody care about the 24/7 title. I'd love to see Woods and Gable. I think Gable's another guy who really deserves a big push. Gable, to me, is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. His match with Ziggler on Raw blew me away. Excellent chemistry with the two of them. And, two guys who are legit amateur wrestlers tearing it up with each other. I loved it. I'm a big proponent of Chad Gable. I think he's got every bit of the makings of a monster star. But you guys, the thing that I think a lot of people forget, it's the wrong thing, is we have in a couple of weeks, we have in a couple of months, We have Cody on his way back to return. You know, like WWE's got options. You know, there's the possibility of that Mania match with Roman and Rock. They have the talent. They just need to put it all together. I think Triple H is the right guy to do it. I personally can't wait for Cody to come back. He's been on fire lately. I'm sorry. He was on fire before he got hurt. Yeah, see, Inigo, I get that. I'm with you there, too. See, based on, I kind of get it because he is smaller in stature, but I think that if you present him the right way, Gable could be a top star. I also think it's going to be a very big deal if Gable Steveson comes over to WWE, because I think that Chad Gable is going to be tasked with really helping him with that transition because they're very similar in style. By the way, thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate it. All right, just 1 second. I gotta put this stuff in the oven. All right, we're in business. I agree, Henny. He deserves at least a U.S. or an Intercontinental title run. I mean, look, he does. I still don't understand how they picked Jason Jordan and not Gable to be Angle's son. Imagine how differently Gable could be right now, and how much better he could have been booked, and how much of a top star he could be. And look, Jason Jordan could have been too if injuries didn't take their toll and unfortunately seemingly end his career. So it's not his fault, but that's just one of those things where WWE had like something laying straight into its face, and then they chose the guy who was standing right next to them. Oh, Kaido, he definitely does. He definitely does. He's super annoying, and like you said, in a good way. More like Stu. You guys are the best. But yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it seems like everything's kind of dwindling down here. I finished cooking and everything like that. We're at the hour mark anyway. So, Henny, I agree with that too. But I think I'm gonna head out anyway. I got to change the bandage on the stitches anyway. So yeah. So before I go though, I want to try to make this more of a weekly thing. I want to try to maybe find a specific day where I'm gonna kind of come on and do this every week. So now, and also now that I'm actually feeling better, I can start editing a little bit more. I'm gonna try to do a little bit tonight, and if I don't get to it tonight because I have some stuff that I have to do probably tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to try to make this more of a regular occurrence. I love talking to you guys. Nah, I can never fall. I love Dave. Dave's one of my best friends, and I would never oppose him. There was one time when we both went live at the same time and didn't know it. And Dave, being the good guy he is, Dave conceded to me for an hour and let me go, and then he went on his. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that too, Henny. Well, more than anything else, Dave and I are just going to try to figure out how we can try to collaborate again. It's been hard now that Dave lost his space, and it's been difficult. The internet thing sometimes. You guys have seen it. You remember when we were doing the lives online. They didn't really go too well. A lot of technical difficulties. We were trying to start let's just say we were trying to start at 8, and we weren't getting on until 8:30 because of the technical stuff. And it kind of sucks, So, that's hours, not minutes. So we're going to try to figure out some things to do. Maybe we'll collaborate on different videos and edit them together. We'll figure things out. But I do want to get back. I do want to get back on there with Dave. Basically, I have Verizon, and my internet is fantastic. It had nothing to do with the internet portion of it. It just has to do with, two guys on two different internets streaming at the same time on the same stream. And if you guys were just able to see some of the stuff that we had to deal with in order to get on just to do these shows, you would see why we haven't returned to kind of doing that. It's a very frustrating situation. I am in the process right now of cleaning up my back room. I have a lot of stuff in there that's just kind of thrown in there, and I have my ex-roommate has some of his stuff still back there. So once that gets cleaned out, I'm going to build that into like a mini studio for myself and my girlfriend. Once that gets done, I'm going to invite Dave to come over to see if he wants to come and do some live streams here. See if he'll take the ride out to Staten Island after I took the ride out to Jersey for him for, the better part of like 4 or 5 years. So we'll see if we can get some of that started. But in the meantime, we're going to try to start doing some more stuff together. But thank you guys for being here. Richard, I'm going to try my best to heal myself up. I got 3 stitches in this thing. It looks ugly as all hell. But thankfully, that should spare it from scarring. So, Kaido, I hope you have a great day. I hope all you guys have a great day. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for always being so cool. Thank you guys for always, coming and showing up. I appreciate every single one of you. How about you call in when Dave is streaming? We'll get. Base up, I might try to join in on one of Dave's next ones. I'll figure it out. I would like to. I'd like to just sit there and talk about wrestling with Dave for a little while because we haven't been able to. Whenever we talk, we catch up. As friends, we don't really catch up about wrestling. So it would be nice. I'll try to figure it out. I tell you what, Base Up, do me a favor. On Dave's next stream, mention that we spoke about this and tell him that we gotta get together soon, and hopefully that'll, set a fire under both of our asses. Yeah, Base Up, that's right. I'm gonna get going here now. That's right. Yeah. You happy? I might jump into the chat too. This past Monday was a little bit hard. My girlfriend and I were hanging out together, and she was changing my friggin' finger bandages and stuff like that. It just, whatever. But I'm going to try my best. But again, guys, thank you so much for being here. And I will definitely see you guys soon. Like I said, I'm going to try to make this a weekly thing. So hopefully I'll see you guys next week.